What's up, everybody? I'm Scott,
And I'm Jason.
and you're listening to Liquid Carnage. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm tired. We are recording this on a Tuesday instead of a Monday because I took Monday off, and Janice and I ran up to Vegas to go tour Allegion Stadium, the home of the now Las Vegas Raiders.
Wow, that must have been fun. Had you ever seen the stadium before?
I have only driven by it up until this week.
Okay.
They weren't allowing fans up until last week when they finally started giving tours.
Oh, that sounds awesome. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I have not been to a stadium for football. I did do the tour of Chase Field.
Yeah, that's a fun one too.
And that's kind of that was a fun tour. We really enjoyed that one. That, you go into where the press box is, you go into the locker room, and but that was for baseball, not for football. And of course, Allegion Stadium is brand new. I mean, it's state of the art, I'm sure.
Gently used, only used for football, no fans whatsoever. I mean, they take you through everything. And the cool part is anyone that's a football fan, or EP Tom's freaking out because for whatever reason he just thinks the Raiders are a dirt team. Ooh. And they do have a villainous past. They're famous for being all the cast-offs and the villains of the NFL, but they're a colorful team with a colorful history, and they did a great job of weaving that history into the art all over the new stadium with a Vegas spin. So it's very cool to see.
I don't know. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes I like seeing the dark history stuff. Like, we've been to the Mob Museum, where you see the Mob Museum in Vegas and all the things that were going on in the 30s, and I don't know why. There's something about the seedy history that just is fascinating to me.
Me too. I mean, I think it adds to the draw of the location. Plus, you think of a team with the history of the Las Vegas Raiders. What better place to relocate to than Las Vegas? A place that's got a bright future, but has a very dark and seedy past.
Yeah, I agree.
They align very closely together. They go hand in hand, like I said, and they used all local artists in the facility. And you gain a whole new respect for the way that team's run once you hear what they've been through Oakland and Los Angeles, and then what their now owner Mark Davis, the famous Al Davis' son, how he works with the fans and so forth in Las Vegas. And I don't want to stay the whole time on this topic, but just one interesting fact I thought was very cool and very I thought stood out about the character of Mark Davis. If you've ever watched him on TV, like, hey, he looks kind of squirrely, like he cut his own bangs. Looks like a weird dude.
Yeah.
Part of the tour, they take you through the press box. They take you through the press box, the owner's box, and the locker room. And in the owner's box, they show you everything, like where Mr. Davis would sit. And I say would sit because he vowed not to use that box until fans can be allowed into the arena. Into the stadium. Really? So he hasn't even used his own box yet. So, to me, that says a lot about like the character. Like, he wants this to be about the fans and how inclusive Las Vegas will be with this team and just the way it's built. And the tour guide mentioned to us that when the window of the eternal flame is open, because at the top of the stadium, they have the eternal flame for Al Davis. The window's open and overlooks the Las Vegas Strip. They say you'll be able to hear the crowd noise all the way down past the Excalibur, which you can see from the window.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, see, to me, I wouldn't look at that as just the Raiders. I would look at that as you're witnessing like a brand new state-of-the-art football stadium.
Yeah, and that's what we did. Like, it's a state-of-the-art football stadium. It's just cool they'll have massive sporting events that are moving forward, boxing matches, UFC, I'm sure, Final Four, Super Bowls. They will have so many events there, and it's going to be a crown jewel for North American sports probably for the next quarter century.
Oh, a quarter century, yeah. I mean, for sure, but I would imagine that building will be used for years and years and years. I mean, with everything going on in Las Vegas, it's going to be a masterpiece. I mean, I'm so excited. And my mom only lives 5 miles away from that building. So
okay, Yeah, so she's watched it be built and whatnot. It's just if you get the chance to go and take the tour, it's worth the hour. You know, I was talking to our EP about it, Tom, and he's, you know, like, don't come out with a Raiders tattoo. I was like, that's dumb. They don't have tattoo parlors in the off season in a football stadium. But I will admit, learning more about the history, because they are not in the NFC, I will happily watch the Raiders because they're not when the Cardinals aren't on. You know, I am perfectly happy to be a Las Vegas Raiders fan, much like a Las Vegas Golden Knights fan.
Well, maybe next year, maybe the NFC West plays AFC West.
We will be up in Las Vegas next year, but they did tell us that all tickets are sold out for the next 2 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, well, how about this? You can get tickets, but they're going to be really expensive.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. $2,200 is the cheapest ticket we found for opening night against Monday night against the Ravens in September.
Dude, you and Janice have flash cash. No worries.
Yeah, right. I mean, who needs to eat for the next 2 years?
You know what? That does lead to an interesting question, though. I mean, there are certain things that I told myself that I would spend any amount of money to do.
Yeah.
Or go see. One of them was when I was a younger man, I had the opportunity to go see Robin Williams in concert or in on tour, and we paid about $300 a ticket. And at that time, I'd never spent $300 on a concert ticket ever in my history, but I spent it for that because I was going to go to that concert no matter what.
Yeah,
I frankly feel the same way about Eddie Murphy if he ever does do a tour.
When he does do a tour, he will tour again. He did have it lined up before the vid.
Yeah, I have a feeling that'll be a ticket that I wouldn't mind spending any amount of money to go see.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You know, it's up until I saw the one man Garth Brooks show with you guys. Was it 10 years ago now?
Oh yes,
for my that birthday. Was the most. That was $250 a ticket. It's the most I've ever spent on a ticket, and that was well worth the money.
Oh, and I mean, for those of you who weren't there, we were 3 rows back?
2 rows.
2 rows. Yeah, it was. I mean, literally, we were right up close and personal with Garth.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. So, you're right. There are things that I would spend good money on myself. I have a bucket list of. I'd like to see, you know, a championship game in all 4 major sports, and so far, I can only say I've seen a Game 7 of the World Series. So that leaves a Stanley Cup, an NBA Finals, and the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And, you know, the thing about those kind of trips, too, is, like, I feel like the Super Bowl is probably, or, you know, baseball is pretty easy, I would think, because, you know, you're going to go around to, you know, you got, 7 games potentially to go to. Football is probably going to be the toughest because it's one game. That's it. I mean, that's it. Of all 4 of those, I got to be honest, probably basketball would be the least on my bucket list. I would still go, but it would be the least of the 4.
You know, and I want to sit here and say, well, it depends on who's playing. But in all reality, if you're a fan of sports or the sport in particular that you're going to, it shouldn't matter what the team is as long as the game is good and you can feel that energy of the crowd.
Right. You know, okay.
I think that energy and seeing just that being in that moment of live history happening right before you, I think goes a long way. And there's something to be said about that, you know?
You know, we were talking, Noreen and I were talking with someone over the weekend, and we were talking about how we had been to France, and we'd been to the Louvre Museum, and we were talking about how kind of uninspiring, not uninspiring, but just how kind of blah the Mona Lisa was. Because, like, you know, they build it up in your mind like the Mona Lisa. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. It's, you know, famous art. When you see it, it's probably 8 by 10. It's maybe a little bit bigger, but it's not much bigger than that. It's not much bigger than a normal, maybe 10 by 20 tops. It's behind a big piece of plexiglass, like a case. So you don't really get a good picture of it. And then there's a rope that kind of separates you from so you're not really inspired, right? You're not really inspired. But in the next little room over, you see the statue of David, and it's like you can get right up to it, and it's, you know, 6 or 7 feet tall, and you're like, wow. I was more impressed with David than I was with the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, and it's I guess it comes down to beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and people get inspired by different things. I agree. I can take a look at the Mona Lisa like, yep, that's a famous painting. That's a poster in the gift shop.
Now, I do have a question for you, Scott, because you were in a habit. You were in a annual trip to New Orleans, trip for like 6 or 7 years, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Where else do you want to go? Do you always want to go to New Orleans, or do you have interest in going other places?
Oh, I have interest in going other places. It's just hard to say no to New Orleans because there's always something new to see, something new to do, and that is a place where when I walk into the French Quarter, I feel like my soul resonates with it.
Oh, okay.
Like almost like, yes, I'm at peace. I feel at home. I feel like, if you believe in reincarnation, I believe one of my past lives was probably spent there.
Okay.
So yeah, there's other places I'd love to go see, other things I'd love to go do, and as those opportunities pop up, I'm excited to go do them. But it's the people I go to New Orleans with are a lot of fun. We have a good time when we go, and it's just it's a great place to spend Halloween.
Oh yeah, with costumes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There we go.
But we've been talking about like going to the Florida Keys. There's international travel talk too, but until everything kind of levels out, it's hard to really commit to something like that.
Yeah, we have a winery in Temecula that we love going to, Wilson Creek.
Oh yeah, that's
every
one of my
year
favorites.
they do that wine river cruise. Mm-hmm. Where it cruises down one of the rivers, the Rhine River or whatever, and stops off at a bunch of famous places. And I thought that would be kind of fun to do.
Yeah. I've always wanted to like go up and see like New England and the whole Pacific Northeast or the Atlantic Northeast, the Pacific Northwest, and just kind of check those places out. And I'll get up there. I'm not too worried about it. The last year and a half, 14 months, I'm sorry, have really kind of enlightened me to, you got to travel a bit more. Work's always going to be there. And that's kind of why we bailed out on a Monday to go take this tour. It's been working our asses off for the last year, and sometimes you just have to get away.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Internationally, there's a few places I wouldn't mind going to see. And then there's other places where it's like, if I never went there, I don't think I'd miss it. And I'm open to having people comment on Facebook and Twitter if I'm totally nuts. But for some reason, going to like Tokyo, Japan does not interest me.
Yeah,
it's a hard one for me because they say it's supposed to be a bustling city and beautiful and technologically advanced, but
Yeah, that's the thing is you start talking like bustling cities and these major metropolitan areas, and that doesn't necessarily interest me. I don't like large groups of people, and being in a foreign country like that, that's, you're shoulder to shoulder with everybody, no matter where you go and what you're doing. I don't see the appeal in that. Now, there's other parts of Japan I'd like to see.
Oh, okay. Like some of the other smaller parts.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful country from the pictures I've seen, but and I don't feel like that you need to necessarily go to the major hubs or spend time there. I mean, you probably have to fly into Tokyo, but I'd love to spend some time in Thailand. I think that'd be really fun.
And now, why is that? Like, because I feel this. There's a lot of places in the Orient that I haven't really seen why I would go there. Yet I've heard that there are parts of that area that are absolutely beautiful. And so if you know of something or are familiar with something, I'd love to know about it.
I've just seen the pictures of the jungles and the beaches of Thailand, and Janice used to be a massage therapist, and she's talked about wanting to study Thai massage over there. So I think it goes hand in hand. She can go study and go to school over there for whatever, and I can go hang out on the beach for cheap.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I guess there must be something though. I will say I have had interest in seeing the Forbidden City, the Great Wall of China. I think something about the historical significance of what those people built, 5,000 years ago or whatever, whenever they built those, like the Forbidden City's been around for thousands of years. That would be kind of interesting to see that.
Yeah, I'd like to I'd like to check out the Smithsonian. If we're staying in country, I'd like to take I'm sure it takes a week or two to go through all the buildings, but just check out all the different displays and exhibits and just see what they have to offer there.
I don't know. I could go. I've already been there 2 times, but I could go back again to Williamsburg, Monticello, that whole part of Virginia.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I just every time I go there, my spirit of our nation just like fills me up with just, oh, it's so amazing. Like I'm sitting there, like we were in a room where some of the founding fathers would talk about how they were going to go, and how they wanted to get ready from British rule. And you're sitting in this room thinking 280 years ago, Washington, Jefferson, Patrick Henry, all these guys were just sitting in there having food or having coffee, talking about the future of this new country,
Yeah, and you talk about wanting to see historical things like that, and I think about, it'd be really cool to go tour a bunch of breweries and distilleries. Just see how the beer's made, see how the whiskey's made, and sample it, and just enjoy it.
When we were in Boston, we went on the Sam Adams tour,
mm-hmm.
and it was pretty uneventful in the sense of it's not a big facility.
Yeah,
like they don't have like this huge, monstrosity building with a bunch of vats and everything. It's pretty small in relative terms, but there was something really cool when you got to the end of the tour and you got to taste their beer, and it's like you realize that these people work there and they get to taste it all the time.
Yeah, we did that with the Beta down in Louisiana, and I think it's in Metatari or Mandeville, and it's a lot of fun. You're right. It's probably the same size as Sam Adams, but they have all their experimental beers on tap. But it's cool just to kind of hang out and just check those things out.
I tell you what, I hear more and more people who went on the whiskey tour through Kentucky, and say it's an absolute awesome experience for the week if you go on that tour where you just tour around a bunch of distilleries.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I think that's a bucket list item I'd love to knock off in the next year or so.
I've always thought that would be, because, I'm engaged now, officially engaged. I was engaged on July 4th, but now she has a ring, I have a ring. And so, at some point in the next 10 or 15 years, we'll probably have a wedding date picked out. But I think that would be a pretty cool bachelor week to go there with a bunch of my friends, male friends, and just have a good time.
Yeah, and you mentioned that's fine. Do you have to actually pick a wedding date before you can have a bachelor party?
Well, nowadays I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, how many people have the kid, then buy a house, then get engaged, then have 2 more kids, and then get married? I mean, hey, we're in a new world, man.
Yeah, it's 2021. You can do it.
2021, baby. We don't care. We don't care.
Yeah, I think it'd be fantastic. If you want to do that for a bachelor party, I will endorse it.
Hey, are there any like natural, like outdoorsy kind of places that you would like to go see?
Oh yeah, everywhere. I'd like to get back up to Wyoming and Yellowstone, and Banff up in Vancouver would be really cool.
Oh, what is that? I've never heard of that.
Banff National Park.
Okay, yeah.
You should go look at it. It's a very beautiful national park up in Vancouver, Canada. And it's gorgeous. It's got gorgeous hotels, and the scenery is just breathtaking.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we're going up in July. We're going to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, to Lake Coeur d'Alene, and spending a week with Noreen and her family, and I'm looking forward to that. But I'm looking forward to that just to, I don't know what it is, but sometimes on vacation I just want to unplug. I don't want to deal with phones. I don't want to deal with texts, emails. And so I'm excited about doing that.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about yesterday or the other day coming home from Vegas. I need some time just to get away and not worry about it. And we were trying to figure out where we could get away and go do something and unplug. And it's still kind of hard right now because you're not sure like what's open, what's not open, what's available to do that. And we'd like to find a place like Coeur d'Alene Lake or someplace maybe a little bit closer that we could do the same thing for a couple days and just get away.
Yeah, bring the kids up and just have a good time.
Yeah, if they want to go, that's great too. If not, it's. Yeah.
Well, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to go on vacation and not bring the kids. I mean, they're at that age where now they're starting to want to do things that are more adult and fun.
No, they're not. No.
Oh, well, then we should be able to find a weekend to get down here anytime then.
Yeah, we should. You would think, right?
We would think. I've had one date that didn't work out, but we'll find another one.
Yeah. We are committed to finding a way to make that weekend work. We just have to. It just depends on what other activities, because, like as mentioned before, now that the world is opening back up, everybody is cramming the last year of doing nothing into a few short weeks before it gets super hot.
Now, when you travel, do you like to have like a pre-set up tour of events, or are you more of just I go and I wing it? I don't care.
I go and I wing it. Like, I'll look up a couple different ideas.
Okay.
I'll say, all right, well, this has this has that. It'd be cool if we could squeeze this in, but I'm not upset if we don't.
Well, and the reason why I asked is because when we were talking about traveling, one of the people we were talking with said that one of the funnest tours they had was in England, but it was a guided tour where they took you everywhere. You just basically, you were on a bus, you went wherever they went, and you stayed wherever they. So it was kind of like a pre-organized tour. But they said it was so much fun because, all the guesswork of what's cool, what's not cool was taken out of it. Everything was planned for them.
Yeah, but at the same point, though, I think you find a lot of fun and entertainment in trying to track those things down or going and looking for some of your own sites too.
Maybe, yeah, I get you. Yeah,
there's so much to see, and we've often talked about the Great Liquid Courage road trip across America, and I think that there's a lot to be said about that too, where just driving down the interstate and stopping whenever you see like the world's largest frying pan or a string doll museum, just to stop and just see what the world has to offer.
Well, I mean, we have our friend Austin who's doing that right now, man. He's a young kid. He's got no attachments. He's got nothing holding him bound. So he basically retroed his van and he's been just traveling and going wherever the wind might take him.
That's right. He's in Montana now. That's pretty
Montana,
amazing.
Okay. So
Montana.
There is something kind of liberating about that, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think you hit it right on the head. Austin is our young friend that has the ability because he's doing it before he got tied down with bills or responsibilities, and it takes a certain kind of soul to do that at that age. And I don't think you or I were ever built like that at that age.
I can honestly say that I was I was not smart enough to recognize to be free. I tied myself down, at least in my mind, much sooner than I probably would if I would, hindsight being 2020.
Yeah, I completely concur with that. I think I did the same thing. And while it's not a terrible thing, I think I left a lot on the table for my youth that I could have done had I really pressed it.
But it's hard though, because I can honestly say now that I'm in my age, when you have financial resources, you can make an experience that much more enjoyable. When you're young and you don't have any money, you kind of just go.
Yeah.
Where I can go, but I can go in style.
Yeah, but now that you can go in style, it's because you can go in style. You know what you expect because you have that financial resource. There's a lot to be said about going when you're 21 or 22 years old and not knowing what to expect and just going with the flow, because it's a whole different experience when you don't have money versus when you have money. And sometimes that experience with little to no money is way more memorable than the high-end experience you're going to have later on in life.
Maybe so. I mean, I think that everyone has a different, like some people don't mind staying in a hostel with 5 other people, you know what I mean? Or they don't mind backpacking through Europe on $2 a day, that kind of thing. And that there's something to be said about that experience and kind of fending for yourself. And maybe it's also because I'm advanced age now that it's like, man, first class sounds good.
Yeah, no,
a nice hotel room sounds pretty good.
I'm right there with you. I would much prefer the route you're discussing now, but in my younger days, I'll go, man. Whatever, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I lived up in Alaska for so long, but I do kind of envy those people that take a helicopter, land on a glacier, and walk around on a glacier.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff is like, those are kind of like extra special trips that you just can't. It's a lot different than I went to Alaska and I went and walked on a glacier.
Yeah, and I think the big difference is there. Like most people that do that, For them, it's just Tuesday. For people like us, to get a chance to, it's like, wow, that's pretty fucking memorable.
Yeah, well, and I was born and raised in Alaska, and I never did that. I mean, I touched a glacier once, but it was a walking trail that went up to the glacier, and that was when I was a kid. I didn't appreciate it as I would now.
Yeah.
Part of me though, would you ever be interested in going to Dubai and going to that big tower that is in Dubai?
Is that the one they made famous in Fast and the Furious when they jumped a car out of it?
Oh, I think that tower's been in a lot of movies. I think it was also in one of the Mission Impossibles too.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure it's probably the same tower. Yeah, I would go to Dubai. I've got a friend that goes there a couple times a year, and she loves it.
What is that for work or for fun?
For fun.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. She goes for 2 weeks at a time, and she said it's the most mind blowing experience. And just the pictures of the food she posts alone, to me, make it look like it's worthwhile.
Well, right now in history, there's all this bad stuff going on in the between Israel and the Gaza Strip. Well, they had a picture on the news, and it was a picture of a bombed out building, but right past the bombed out building was that the sea that's there. Is that, I don't know if that's the Mediterranean, but I was like, here there's this horrible fight going on, and right beyond that is this beautiful, probably a nice beach, beautiful water. I'm thinking,
yeah,
oh my gosh, there's all that area. All we think about is war and violence, and then you think, yeah, but they're right on the water, and it's right, beautiful.
Don't you understand property value in California? Do you know how much money you can get for this right now? Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's just insane, but. Yeah,
police are different though.
One thing I will say about myself, and I'd like to work on that, is it's really great to think about these things. I need to be better about just doing these things.
Yeah.
And stop talking. Oh, I'd like to see this. Oh, I'd like to see this. I need to just schedule it, plan it, do it. And I'm bad at that. That's the one thing that all this talk is great, but if you're not a go-getter to do it, then it's empty.
Well, that's what Janice and I talk about a lot too. It's just taking the time and going and doing. And we get so easily attached to our routines and what we're doing and how we're doing it that we forget that there's still a life to live, and that we're literally burning the daylight of our lives by going to work for the man and not doing the things that help create memories,
Well, and let's be honest. I mean, some of these memories that you create, they're not that expensive now.
No, they're not.
When you think about when you think of like I've seen Travel Zoo where you can go to China for like 2 weeks for like $800. So it's not even that expensive to go on some of these trips. My thing is, Jason, thinking about it is one thing. Do it, man.
Yeah. Like, what's holding you back? I mean, sure, you're going to fly, what's lower than coach on that plane to and back from China?
Yeah. Baggage.
Yeah. So you're in the baggage carousel. Big deal. You know what? I'm sure if you could burrow a hole up into the concession area where the flight attendants are, you can steal as many peanuts as you want.
Well, and let's be honest. I mean, how many people? I mean, we're not alone in the sense of people have big dreams, but they don't do anything with them.
Yeah, dreams are just that unless you actually go out there and take.
Unless you go do it. So we need to make it a habit. Pick one of these places, and both of us need to say, you know what? I'm going to schedule it. I'm going to do it. We're going to do it.
Yep. And that's something we're struggling through right now, just trying to figure the time. And there's never going to be a good time. So I think the moral of today's conversation is there's never going to be a good time. There's a lot of shit in this world to go see. So go see it. Go do it. You know what? It's just money. You'll make it back, but you won't get the time back.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, just the one final thing is sometimes just knowing that something is ahead, even if it's 6 months away,
it gives you something to look forward to.
It's something to look forward to. Like, it's like, oh man, okay, 5 months. And we're experiencing that now even more with this Coeur d'Alene trip, because Noreen started planning it a year ago.
Yeah.
And now it's starting to get closer and come into reality. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's going to be. So yeah, just planning it and getting it on the books is enough to say, yeah, this is going to be good.
Oh, I agree. So as we wrap up today's show, if there's a place that you think would be so much fun to go see, or if there's a place you think we should check out, hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, all at Liquid Carnage. If you have a vacation spot for our EP Tom, someplace that you think he'd love to go, hit him up at liquid_EP on Instagram and Twitter.
Well done. Hey, go plan. Hey, go everyone right now. Go write down 5 places you want to go to and start planning it, because we'll do the same thing.
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate you. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some liquid carnage.